Hey everyone, it is late at night and I'm Norman. Now, for this video, I'm not trying to persuade anyone or change anyone's mind or anything like that. But with the recent arrival of the C1 ceremony, I was thinking to myself there really are some amazing offerings that I would have never considered back in the day, ever. When I initially became a watch nerd, the very first filter I would do is whether or not a watch was quartz, because I was not at all interested in quartz watches whatsoever. The first exception I made to this rule was the GS Sapphire. And with that one, it was kind of curiosity, that and the fact that it's a tool watch that I'm probably not going to wear terribly often. And I thought, I don't know, let's see what it looks like. I probably won't wear it all the time, but when I do want to wear it, I'll be able to just grab it off the shelf. And then later on, when I got into vintage watches, every now and then something would come through, like a neo vintage piece that was in quartz. And with those, I realized, okay, they have the vintage aesthetic and size and everything, but unlike other vintage watches, these are kind of stress-free. I started getting nervous about the idea of having to service millions of vintage watches, and the idea of a neo-vintage quartz piece started to look a bit appealing. So I ended up purchasing pieces like this brilliant little Hamilton. So I thought tonight I would share some of my absolute favorite quartz pieces that are in my collection. Just do a little bit of eye candy. There are other amazing quartz watches that I own as well, but these are sort of the creme de la creme. So let me flip the camera around and let's look at some eye candy. Okay, so we'll start with the piece that started it all, like I mentioned. The GS Sapphire. This is a little tank of a watch. The bead blasted case is so amazing. And this has 200 meters of water resistance and a sapphire crystal. And the battery in this is a long-lasting battery. When I first did a video after receiving this watch, I think I mentioned that the battery could potentially last 10 years. And someone called me out on that, and I thought, oh, I totally screwed up. But I think later on I saw confirmation that this could potentially last that long. Regardless, it's been years now and it's still going, knock on wood. And I reached out to CWC, and they do offer a battery changing service, which when this does die, I'm probably going to do because of the water resistance and how long the batteries they use last. So I will be sending this to CWC when the battery dies, because at that point, it's probably good to have its gaskets checked and whatnot anyway. But this is an absolutely amazing piece. I was just wearing it the other day. And if a video on quartz watches isn't divisive enough, one of the watches we're looking at is the museum. And this piece shocked me how much I loved it. I kind of liked the CWC. Originally bought a museum sort of out of curiosity, because it's such a rule-breaking watch. It's so minimal that it's just kind of crazy. And so I wanted to see one in person. And I bought a contemporary one, but it was just too large for me. So I got on eBay and tracked down this neo vintage piece. I believe it's from the 80s. And yeah, it's shocking how often I wear this watch and how much I ended up loving it. It's very slim and just a great looking piece. And I need to do a video on the museum because in another video I mentioned that this design was stolen, but I have since stumbled upon an article that stated otherwise. This design was not stolen, but there was some contention around an aspect of it, but I'll have to script that out and do some more reading, but love the museum. Man, the piece that I've already shown you briefly, the Neo Vintage Hamilton, my understanding is this was an attempt to kind of have an answer for the Cartier tank, I think in the 80s. I haven't really done a whole lot of digging into this watch, but it was quite affordable, and it's just a brilliant watch. I mean, look at that dial. And it's definitely small, which for a square or tank style watch is, in my opinion, a good thing. I feel like this is a great size for a square watch. And look at that crystal. They absolutely nailed the vintage aesthetic and size and whatnot on this one. And one downside to mention with quartz pieces is, of course, the batteries. So it's a good idea to get some tools and carefully swap the batteries out yourself on certain pieces, ones that you feel comfortable doing that, because it's a lot more cost effective. And it's good to keep up on it. Right now I have a bin full of a bunch of quartz pieces that need batteries, and it's a little bit overwhelming. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start taking care of those. Maybe once a month I'll pick up a battery and knock out another one, but definitely a good idea to keep on top of it. Love this piece though. And of course, the watch that inspired this video, Vaer's C1 Ceremony, that they just sent to me. Absolutely gorgeous watch. Now, in my first impressions video, I mentioned the fluting, and it's actually not in the rehaut. It's just on the edge of the dial, but you can see it reflected up in the rehaut. Until I saw it on video, I thought it was up in the rehaut there, but yeah, my mistake. Yeah, it was when I was editing that video that I realized, wait a minute, that's actually on the dial. But what a brilliant idea to have that sort of subtle element there, not so in your face. Yep, gorgeous. And then there's the Seiko Dolce. This watch. Ultra slim. And it has drilled lugs, which is an interesting feature on a dress watch. But they're very subtle. It has a little jewel or faux jewel on the crown. The dial is absolutely brilliant. Just the overall design of this watch is amazing. It's so classy, so dressy. In my collection, this kind of was a replacement for the CW Malvern that I owned for a while, but that piece was a bit large for me. This one is much more vintage size. But that Malvern could have been absolutely brilliant in a slightly smaller case. And I'll bet regular viewers of this channel can guess what the final watch is that we're looking at. The Longines Dolce Vita. This is by far the most expensive quartz watch that I own. I think these are going for somewhere around $1,500 right now. So they are not for the faint of heart. You could probably get them slightly less, but when I purchased this, I had looked on the gray market, and these actually retain their value fairly well. You'll see other pieces that are kind of essentially half off. Not what I was seeing with the Dolce Vitas. This is an absolutely brilliant, gorgeous dress watch. And I actually don't mind that it's quartz. But this is not a piece that I would change the battery myself. Yeah, this is one where I let my mall watch guy deal with that. I am not opening this thing up myself. But yeah, I would not have considered even this watch back when I first became a watch nerd. It was mechanical or nothing, at least for a while. Yes. So there you have it. Quartz is definitely not for everyone, but there are some shockingly good offerings out there that I just would have never considered back in the day. Thanks for watching.